Are you looking for your next rent to social housing deal, or maybe you just want to act as the middle person between the investor, the landlord and the social housing provider? If this is you, keep watching this video. I'm going to give you 5 key actions that you're going to have to take to make this happen. I'll even include 3 of the country's top performing social housing providers that are on a government-backed 10-year framework worth billions of pounds that you can get in touch with today. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Johnny Marsden. If you're new here, as always, let me do a quick intro and a bit of a brief on me. I've been investing in property now for nearly 15 years and from my very first project, used investor finance. I bought my first HMO back in 2011, and since then I've invested in buy-to-lets, flips, land sales, lease extensions, and more recently, in the last couple of years, I've been heavily looking into social housing, both rent to social housing and buy to social housing. Before taking property full time, I can fortunately say that I was lucky enough to work with some of the UK's leading and most successful house builders. I started this channel to really answer my investors' questions because I thought the public will likely want to know what my investors are asking me to. So I'm hoping that this channel just gives you loads of value and that you're learning something, and I'm hopefully answering questions along the way. If you would like to work directly with me, just click the link below in the description. You can download a free PDF, and after that you'll be able to book in a call directly with me. 20 minutes, no obligation to take it any further, and we can just work out whether or not we can actually work together. Now that's all done, let's get back into the video. Okay, I promised you that I'm going to give you some key actions and some key takeaways that you're going to need to put into place to start making this happen for you. You either want to find your next rent to social housing deal, or you want to find them on behalf of investors. Regardless, these actions are imperative to take if you want to be successful within this model. Contact social housing providers that are local to your area, or if you're already quite an experienced investor, contact providers that are working locally in your investment area. But how do you actually contact the provider, and what is the best way of going about it? I've found the most lucrative way of getting hold of these social housing providers is firstly downloading a list that you can find on a government website of the registered social housing providers and supported living providers in the country. Look for providers that are working in your area and literally just start picking up the phone and calling. If you're concentrating on smaller to medium-sized providers, then you're likely going to be wanting to talk to the directors of the company or the CEOs. They're going to be ones that are making decisions and the people that you are going to be wanting to talk to. Any potential property deals are going to have to go through these people eventually, so getting in touch with the decision maker right off the bat is very, very important. If you're a bit too scared or a bit too worried about picking up the phone straight away, definitely email. Emailing is just as powerful, and these companies genuinely do want to work with investors and people like us because they have so many tenants that they need to house. Again, small to medium-sized companies, you're going to be wanting to target directors and CEOs. Most will have ways that you can contact specific departments that help deal with the leasing of property as well, and these are the departments that you want to be in touch with. If you're targeting larger companies, I would definitely advise you to go onto their website. Most will have a contact email that you can get hold of them on. I would go straight in there and explain exactly what it is you're trying to do and how you think you can help, and that you would like to be able to talk to someone about this as soon as possible. Keep it simple. You don't have to change the wheel or reinvent the wheel. Maybe something like, "Hi, this is Johnny from whatever property company limited. I am looking to acquire residential property in your area at the moment, and my idea is to let it out to a social housing provider. Are you able to assist me here? If so, when can we talk?" Simple, straight to the point, and hopefully someone would get back to you pretty quickly. Try and get hold of the procurement officers or heads of departments within these particular larger businesses, or maybe even heads of region, because often they will chop up how people are delegated throughout the country in terms of region. So try and get in touch with the region that you're going to be invested in. Another super strong way to get in touch with people directly without having to go through a website or email or a phone is LinkedIn. You want to be finding people that work at the company that you're looking to target. Find out the title of the type of person that you want to get in touch with. So for example, you know one social housing provider that you're trying to work with, all the people that head up the leasing team are called procurement officers or procurement managers or leasing officers. Type in on LinkedIn, leasing officer at X or head of department at X. Link in with them, message them and try and connect. Don't go straight in with a message saying that you're looking to try and lease property to them straight away. I would treat this as more of a 2, 3, 4 week kind of approach. Just message saying, hey, looks like we are in similar spaces, thought it would be great to connect. They should be able to see all of your content, so make sure the content is around social housing. And once they start looking at this and they start getting to know you a little bit more, I'd leave it a week or so and then approach them again and say, hey, I'm acquiring property in your area at the moment. Are you looking for a HMO? Are you looking for blocks of flats? Are you looking for this type of property? If so, it would be great to talk. In summary, the key takeaway here is get in touch with social housing or supported living providers that are in your investment area. The second key takeaway here would be know your numbers. Now by that, I mean know how much property costs and know how much property rents for in your area. Particularly know how much the local LHA rate is, so the local housing authority rate, and know how much the going private market rental rate is too. These providers that you're working with aren't going to be able to afford much above the LHA rate, and you need to know how much this rate is. Mainly, so when you're doing negotiations with the landlord, you know your margin. The margin here is the difference between what you pay the landlord and what the social housing provider pays you. So if you've agreed with the landlord that you're going to pay them £500 a room, and they have 4 rooms, so that's £2,000 in total, and the social housing provider has told you that they can pay you £750 a room, you know that you're going to make £1,000 profit there, which is essentially your monthly margin. Know your rental numbers in your area so you can properly negotiate with the landlord at the front end, because that is essentially where you're making your money. After you've spoken with a social housing provider, they should have given you an indication as to how much they're going to be able to pay, meaning you can work back from that figure to negotiate a better price with the landlord and make a margin that is suitable for you or your investor. For example, if the social housing provider that you're working with can pay about 10% above the LHA rate, that means you have a good indication as to how much they're going to be able to give you monthly. Let's say the LHA rate is £500. You know the social housing provider is going to pay you 10% above that rate. So roughly they're going to give you 550 quid. When you're negotiating with a landlord, have that in the back of your mind. If they're going to pay you £550 a room, say, and you're trying to negotiate a 2-bed flat with a landlord, you know that you're going to get £1,100 from the social housing provider for that place. The landlord might just want 800 quid. So that's a £300 profit per month from that one property. Is your time well spent to earn that much money per month? Is that worth it for you? And is that worth it for your investor? Also within this know your numbers category, you're going to need to know how much it's costing for refurbishments in your area. The likeliness is that the landlord that you're working with and you're going to be renting from is going to need a refurbishment on their property. If it's going to cost you £10,000 to refurbish a property and get it to the right standard for a social housing provider, but you're only making £100 a month in profit, it's going to take you the best part of 10 years to get that money back. Make sure before going into a negotiation with a landlord, you know the rough private market rental rate, because this will be what the landlord has pretty much been expecting most of the time. The LHA rate, which is the minimum that you should expect to have to rent that out for, how much the social housing provider is going to pay you, and how much a refurbishment is going to cost. This way you can have a fair negotiation with the landlord. A third key takeaway here is know your contracts and know your terms. A huge pull for social housing at the moment is the fact that a lot of these providers cover voids and maintenance in their lease that you sign with them, but not all do. So whoever you're signing up with, make sure you agree up front that you want voids and maintenance covered. The type of contract that you want is an FRI lease, which is a full repairs and insurance lease. You're going to essentially mirror that contract with the landlord. So when you agree with the landlord up front, within the contract, you're going to say, we'll pay you on this date, this agreed amount, and we will cover the voids and the maintenance. On the other end, you're signing pretty much exactly the same thing with the social housing provider. So you're passing the responsibility and the onus onto them. Once that deal is ready and packaged up and you have that agreed, you can then sell that to an investor. Next on the list would be know the company. And by that, I mean know the provider that you're working with. These larger businesses kind of speak for themselves in terms of their numbers and their finances and how strong they are financially. If you're working with small to medium-sized businesses, you're really going to need to dig down into their history, financial history, how they can actually pay the rent they're saying they can pay. A lot of providers will say that they can pay way higher than the LHA rate, but really, by paying that amount, it means that they're cutting into their profit and they end up going out of business. You hear this a lot, unfortunately, that these sorts of companies have gone bust and any investment people have made has gone missing with them. So make sure you know the company inside out, or at least as much as you can. I said at the start of the video, I was going to give you 3 big companies that are on a huge contract, and this would be a great place to start. I would be getting hold of either Mears, Clear Springs, or Serco. They're big multi-million pound turnover businesses within the UK. They are on a long 10-year framework with the government that helps house asylum seekers. And you can mitigate your risk here from working with a financially astute, financially sound provider by working with these off the bat. Working with these big companies allows you a safety net in a way, because they're large multi-million pound turnover businesses and you would like to think that they're run properly. They're going to have great financial backing, and most importantly, because they're on this long 10-year framework, they've got billions of pounds of government money to play around with for their social housing contracts. After you've done all the other actions in this list that I've mentioned, I would then start to work out how you want to make your own money. If it's a fee, make sure the fee is built into whatever you're asking the investor for. If the refurbishment costs £8,000, but you want to add your fee in there, I would tell the investor that to purchase this deal off you, it's going to cost them 11 grand. And within that, your fee is built in. And on the flip side, if you're looking for your own rent to social housing deals with your own money, work out what you can afford in terms of a refurbishment. And from there, work out what sort of return you're going to be looking for each year. This will help you determine how much money you need monthly and what it is that you're able to actually put forward for the refurb. I've just got to the end of this and realised that something that is imperative when sorting out these rent to social housing deals is contacting landlords. I thought of this halfway through making the video, and really this is a video in itself. So if you're interested in finding out how you can contact landlords directly and some of the best tricks of the trade of doing so, comment below, and if there's enough, I'll make sure to make a video specifically around contacting landlords directly. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. If you want to work with me, you can just click the link in the description below. As I said at the start of the video, it will let you download a PDF which explains how I work, how rent to social housing works, and from there you can book in a free 20-minute no obligation discovery call so we can work out whether or not we can actually work together and, fingers crossed, make some money in property together too. I'll see you in the next video.